kind of a big deal for the local community. It's projected to create about 1,000 jobs.
We're going to start seeing data centers pop up everywhere, that there's stable, clean power for the AI generation. And then, but Bitcoin miners can really exist wherever there's even intermittent or dirty power or stranded energy. Bitcoin mines can almost locate anywhere where there's energy.
Local political leaders may have had some sort of affiliation with. The allegations are that they use their position to sell this land at a very cheap price to their local friends, who then turned around and sold it for a much larger price to Hut 8. The allegations, as reported by WBRZ, or that the people of West Louisiana Parish may have been defrauded out of something like $11.5 million.
I wish that it was more prevalent in the day-to-day conversations on other podcasts. I think people don't know about it. It's not very easy you have to go and watch a podcast based around Bitcoin to hear or know about Bitcoin or educate yourself around it. I think that people talk about cash money and credit every day. They talk about liquid assets, liabilities, expenses. Everyone knows what those are. It's just custom. I think that once Bitcoin cryptocurrency has become more custom to everyone's day-to-day life, it'll be more prevalent.
Why not buy other cryptocurrencies in addition to Bitcoin?
The big differentiator is proof of work versus proof of stake. Proof of stake is more on the lines of, I've bought my access, I don't have a say, I don't have true skin in the game. Proof of work is really saying, I've sacrificed real world electricity, real world cost to secure this network.
You can't cheat the kilowatt.
Or another way to think of this is, how do I monetize my own holdings of Bitcoin? So I'm waiting. If you saved in Bitcoin, you've saved in MicroStrategy, and you have no way to monetize it until the price goes up, you need to find a way to pay your bills. In the meantime, you need to find a way to finance your lifestyle. You can actually make money just on the volatility of MicroStrategy itself.
Shout out to William Stiegel, if you're listening. I love you, my brother. He just told me that y'all go to breakfasts all the time. We're going to reconnect, and I can't believe you're in the Bitcoin. Hope you're listening to this. Love you, man.
After learning more about Bitcoin and my evolution of it, people would consider it more of a commodity versus a cryptocurrency. They know it's the future, they just don't know how it's going to be a part of the future. And the biggest thing about Bitcoin is you have to understand the origins of money. What they really teach you with gold, it still today holds a lot of value, and it's still considered
it's a $20 trillion asset class.
Right,
it's huge.
Absolutely. And it's going to continue. So the problem that they were discussing in the book is that it's hard as far as transferable across space and time. So if we had to evacuate the United States today, can you put 20 bricks of gold on your back and board a plane or board a boat to go where you need to go? No, it's an asset that you cannot take with you. It would be very difficult to take all your gold in your safe that you've got, buried somewhere, to just say, I'm going to, take my gold bricks and leave. Try to escape the United States with 20 gold bricks and see if you make it.
All right, we are live again. Craig LeBlanc with the Daily Bitcoin Show, airing from Proof of Drink Bitcoin Meetup here in Baton Rouge at the Bulldog. with all of my buddies that I've been meeting with about Bitcoin in person. If you have not attended a local Bitcoin meetup, definitely need to make it out. Go to meetup.com, Google, or look up Bitcoin meetup, and you'll find us and hundreds of others across the country. We meet every Tuesday, 6 to 9 p.m. at the Bulldog on Perkins. So if you're ever in Baton Rouge on a first Tuesday, come by and say hello. Buddy of mine has been in the Bitcoin longer than me, Daniel, is here as one of our guests. We'll probably have 2 or 3 more guests today. But Daniel, how are you doing, and what you got for us on Bitcoin's topic today?
Doing great. I think this really should be a broad appeal to the community to show up to our proof of drink meetups. If everyone gets to have 1 minute of fame on your podcast,
That's it.
should help draw a crowd.
That's right. If you want to become Bitcoin famous, come out to the proof of drink meetup, and you can rattle on about Bitcoin and tell the rest of the world why you're in it, what you love about it, what news you have. And Daniel's always one of my best news sources for Bitcoin. Every time I come to a Bitcoin meetup, he raises my awareness on a Bitcoin topic I'm completely blind to. So what's any news, Bitcoin news for us today?
Yeah, I've been noticing a lot of news around Hut 8 mining. Some local news and also national news. It's interesting. This phenomena is touching everything.
What is Hut 8? I'm sure a lot of our audience have never heard of that. What do they do? Why is that important?
They're a large Bitcoin mining company, and they also run data centers for AI customers.
Now, when you say large, aren't they like one of the biggest in the country? Maybe top 3? You think they're that big?
I'd say top 10.
Yeah. And
they're not as big as Marathon,
right,
or Riot.
Right. And so why is this relevant to Louisiana? What's going on in Louisiana?
Well, it was announced in local media late last year that Hut 8 is building a $12.5 billion data center in St. Francisville, Louisiana, right up the road from us.
So they're threatening now. For those of you who don't know, Louisiana has its only nuclear powerhouse is in St. Francisville. And of course, this is base load nonstop. These suckers can produce power, usually at the gigawatt scale. And of course, like many baseline powerhouses, they don't have a customer in the deep nights when everybody's asleep. So Bitcoin miners can come in and buy that power cheaply if they can co-locate very close to this powerhouse. I think that's what's going on. Didn't they have some land around the nuclear powerhouse that they sold or Hut 8 bought?
Right. I don't know exactly how close to the nuclear power plant the parcel of land was, but presumably close.
Yeah.
Which as was touted as kind of a big deal for the local community. It's projected to create about 1,000 jobs.
Oh wow!
It's a big data center.
Yeah, yeah, and we're going to start seeing data centers pop up everywhere. That there's stable, clean power for the AI generation, and then but Bitcoin miners can really exist wherever there's even intermittent or dirty power or stranded energy. Bitcoin mines can almost locate anywhere where there's energy, whereas these AI, I guess, facilities need almost like hospital grade clean power. So that's why they're going to be looking to be next to like a nuclear powerhouse.
Now there is a dark, nefarious undercurrent to the story locally, as was reported by local media, WVRZ.
Let's hear it.
It sounds like there may have been some funny business with these land deals. So there's this port commission president and parish president involved with selling 107 acres of surplus parish land right in the spot to this other somewhat local company that these local political leaders may have had some sort of affiliation with, which is only really a problem because what the allegations are that they use their position to sell this land at a very cheap price to their local friends, who then turned around and sold it for a much larger price to Hut 8. The allegations, as reported by WBRZ, are that the people of West Feliciana Parish may have been defrauded out of something like $11.5 million.
Now, typically, Louisiana politics are known for their honesty and lack of corruption, but in this one rare case,
I think we need to call up Woody Harrelson and Matt McConaughey to do another season of True Detective.
My goodness.
Like,
now, typically, I think, I don't know how closely you follow Louisiana politics and Bitcoin, but Louisiana has been leading the charge as one of the most Bitcoin friendly. And I say this Bitcoin friendly, not just crypto friendly, but Bitcoin friendly. We passed some of the most favorable laws passed them into law nearly unanimously through the House, Senate, governor signed it. So that now, as a Louisiana citizen, you have the right to mine, take custody, run a node, buy and sell Bitcoin, and it's enshrined in law in the state of Louisiana. And that happened, I think, sometime last year. And then there's actually, between Hut 8 and some others, there's some good infrastructure. And I think the main reason is because Louisiana is an energy producer, and we have tons of electricity, cheap electricity down here. So I'm hoping it becomes a hotbed for Bitcoin activity. Have you heard anything else on the Louisiana Bitcoin activity front?
No, but there's another story about Hut 8, actually. More of national
news. Here we go. National news here. Hit it.
So President Trump's sons are involved with this company called American Data Centers, which is doing a deal with Hut 8 to create a new Bitcoin mining company called American Bitcoin Mining, with the strategy of mining and strategically creating their Bitcoin reserve as much possible. And the new mining company is going to be 80% owned by Hut 8 and 20% owned by the other outfit, with Eric Trump as chief strategy officer or something to that effect. And Hut 8 is going to continue as actually providing the infrastructure support for American Bitcoin mining.
Yeah, I'd like to see the Trump's business and many other businesses get into Bitcoin, hopefully the correct way. I think any business is smart to find a way to get into energy, Bitcoin mining, hold Bitcoin as a treasury reserve asset, maybe following Michael Saylor's or some of the other companies. Aren't there other?
Following Marathon, which is following Michael Saylor.
Yeah. So a lot of these people will earn Bitcoin and they just keep it on the books. They don't sell it for cash or anything else. They just try to accumulate as much Bitcoin as possible, which is kind of the Saylor strategy. And so, yeah, hopefully, I think Eric Trump is in charge of all the Trump businesses. I think Donald Trump kind of disconnected from those for political reasons. But I don't think that's stopping him from steering the Trump companies and ship towards Bitcoin at all. Hopefully they're able to get on that bandwagon and they see what we see, which is, we're shifting all of our assets into Bitcoin. We think you should too.
Yeah, I'm waiting for them to eliminate capital gains taxes on crypto purchases.
Is there rumors of that going around, that people have stated that at the federal level, state level, or what?
I think that was something of a hope for to be fulfilled campaign promise that would actually garnered Trump a lot of support from the crypto community.
Yeah. Well, let's hope that's true. So hopefully there might be, there's rumors, are you saying that there might be no capital gains tax on Bitcoin or all crypto? Or do we know yet?
I'm saying that's what should happen.
There we go. Well, we're hoping that would be it. And then all these, not that you need to be worrying about capital gains because that presumes a sale and you should not be selling Bitcoin. And what we're going to see is a birth of a lot of other mechanisms to where you can borrow against your Bitcoin and never have to sell it. I know Strike is coming out with something like that. Coinbase has something like that. I think you're going to see a lot of banks allowing you to use Bitcoin as collateral, which means you never have to sell it. You can just borrow against it. So yeah, hopefully that comes out. Anything else for the Bitcoin community here on the Daily Parks and Rec Show?
Even though you shouldn't sell it, it makes good gifts. I gave my girlfriend some Bitcoin for Christmas.
That's right. See if we can get Riley to come up here and say anything at all.
Riley,
you want to come say hello? Riley has zero stage fright. She's into Bitcoin. She's a recent Bitcoin holder.
Hello.
You gotta
want to put the headset on? So this is
you gotta tell them what you got for Christmas.
I got a lockbox that holds Bitcoin. So I also got Bitcoin, and it's gonna sit safely.
That's it. Do you have any Bitcoin questions that maybe other people might be thinking about getting into Bitcoin that maybe I could answer for them? What's a common question you had when you started?
I, as a woman, want to learn more about Bitcoin, be more involved with the community. I'd like for it to be a simpler topic for everyone to discuss, but women in the Bitcoin community are not as prevalent as men.
Why do you think that is? I wonder why. You just see a lot of it seems to be a lot of guys into Bitcoin, and it's rare that you see women into it. But any idea as to why there's more men than women in Bitcoin? Any thoughts around that? Or what could we do maybe as a community to attract more of the female variety of Bitcoiners?
Well, I think that in incorporating it in regulatory movements and it being more prevalent and established in daily lives of everyone, education, information, news media, giving advice or listening to it, just for it to be more of a discussion.
How do you spell your name, Riley? I'm trying to spell it correctly. It's
RYLEA.
LEA. Last name?
DESHAUTEL.
Okay. So now we hopefully have all the guests as they come on the show. All right. So yeah, is there anything, have you read anything? Is there any podcasts that you've gotten into Bitcoin? Is there, has Daniel sent you any videos? I know Daniel's like the one's kind of in charge of your education.
Yeah, I hear about it most from him.
He's a good one to have on your team, by the way.
That's true. I'm very happy. But I wish that it was more prevalent in the day-to-day conversations on other podcasts. I think people don't know about it. It's not very easy you have to go and watch a podcast based around Bitcoin to hear or know about Bitcoin or educate yourself around it. I think that people talk about cash money and credit every day. They talk about liquid assets, liabilities, expenses. Everyone knows what those are. It's just custom. I think that once Bitcoin cryptocurrency has become more custom to everyone's day-to-day life, it'll be more prevalent.
Yeah. So for you, you're kind of looking for, ease of transaction when you can just use Bitcoin to buy beer or a hamburger
Yeah,
or
just
something.
like let me know when I can and can't, or make it, you know, easy to use every day, or know where you can or can't use it.
And those days are coming. We've got a lot of great Bitcoin development coming on the second layer, which is what she's talking about. And then there's a lot of cards right now that you can sell your Bitcoin at the cash register. A lot of things like Coinbase and Strike offers things like this. And I think we have Morgan here in a minute that's coming on. He knows a lot about the second layer, so maybe we can have him speak on that. I know that's a big deal, just to have Bitcoin more in the ecosystem, not just a buy and hold strategy, but how do we use it?
Right.
That'd probably be more attractive to y'all.
Y'all, you mean women?
Yes, to the females out there wanting to. Not that women like to spend money, but for those that might, they want to know, how can I use Bitcoin to buy things?
How can I invest? How can I, who do I go to find out about investing? Who does know?
Yeah. So what about give a testimony to coming to the Bitcoin meetups? If you wanted to encourage women or anybody in general, go to why should they attend a Bitcoin meetup?
So the Bitcoin meetup is very easygoing and open. It's great people that are getting together to ask questions or to say, express themselves about current events with cryptocurrency. It's not any judgment. It's cool, calm, collected conversations about and around cryptocurrency. So whether you're familiar or not, it's easy to approach the people that come here. They're very accepting and approachable people to have conversations like about stuff that you're not really sure about. These are the people to ask.
Yeah. And have you found that they've been really open to helping you maybe get a hardware wallet or understand where to buy it from? I know Daniel's helped you out a lot with just kind of giving you Bitcoin. It's good to have those kind of people in your life.
Yeah, he provided me with one. He gave it to me as a gift over Christmas, and it was new to me to know that you could even have. I call it a lockbox. I'm not sure. It's digital currency.
It's a hardware wallet, probably.
Wallet.
Yeah, that's always good to have somebody that's a veteran to help you set it up. I know Mr. Mark, shout out to Mr. Mark. Usually he's here. He's the founder of this club, but he's sick. So he was kind of bummed out he couldn't make it. No. He helped set up my first Bitcoin hardware wallet. I'm sure Daniel helped you set up yours. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Any closing remarks or anything you have to tell out to the Bitcoin world about a Bitcoin meetup or Bitcoin in general? Are you going to Vegas by any chance?
I am.
Oh no, that's news.
Yeah, I am going to Vegas.
Oh, fantastic.
I'm not sure if I'll be attending the conference.
Oh, okay.
But I will be going to Vegas.
No, you need to be attending the conference. Are you going there during the conference by any chance? Oh, you have to go then. She's going. We're gonna make her go. Daniel, you got to get her to go to the Vegas.
I probably will.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on to the show. We'll see who we have next. We have two more guests. Who do y'all want to be next? You're going next? All right, let's go. Oh, and you've got your Bitcoin. Okay, so great job, Riley. Riley Deshotel, infamous Bitcoiner of Baton Rouge. Next, we have my buddy, Morgan Stewart. Hold on, let me I love the glasses. Hold on, I need to get me a pair of those. And then we have another surprise guest. Let's see. More. I love this background music, by the way.
Oh, it's great.
STUART.
I'm not a soup.
That's right.
That's right.
Shout out to William Stiegel. If you're listening, I love you, my brother. He just told me that y'all go to breakfasts all the time. We're going to reconnect, and I can't believe you're into Bitcoin. Hope you're listening to this. Love you, man. All right, Morgan.
Great to be back.
Yes. You've got so much Bitcoin news for us. What are we talking about today when it comes to Bitcoin? I mean, we could go, riff on this forever.
Forever. So, some of that, the biggest news was that Trump Jr. is getting into Bitcoin mining
No way.
with Hut 8.
Yes. But Daniel mentioned that about it. So tell us some more details around that.
So they were taking a minority stake, if I read correctly, in Hut 8 and having a subsidiary called American BTC, and they're hoping to be the biggest miner pretty soon. That's huge.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
a huge move in the mining industry.
How big is Hut 8 in comparison to, like, where do they rank in the I don't know, globally or nationally? Where are they?
Oh, they're much smaller than Mara and Riot.
Yeah.
They must be a fourth or fifth the size of Mara and Riot.
Yeah.
And so they have a lot of opportunity to grow in market share in comparison to where they are today.
Yeah.
Big opportunity there.
Yeah. Well, shout out to Ocean Mining. I know they're growing as well. We had Bob Burnett on the show not too long ago. We got a lot of great mining happening in what I consider the greatest country in the world, United States of America. And we're going to hopefully produce some of the best energy on planet Earth, some of the cheapest energy. And that should attract lots of Bitcoin mining going on. All right. What other topics do we have for today? I know we had a couple that we wanted to chat about. Let's see. We could shout out to Chandler Tullis, close friend of mine. I'm godfather to one of his beautiful children, Catherine. And he's been asking me a bunch of questions. What do you think about Ethereum and the security of their network? Because a lot of people are like, well, should I buy Ethereum? Should I buy Solana? Should I try smart chains? Give people some feedback on why not buy other cryptocurrencies in addition to Bitcoin.
The big differentiator is proof of work versus proof of stake. Proof of stake is more along the lines of I've bought my access. I don't have a say. I don't have true skin in the game. Proof of work is really saying I've sacrificed real world electricity, real world cost to secure this network.
You can't cheat the kilowatt.
Yeah, you can't cheat the
You
kilowatt.
can't cheat the kilowatt.
And you put skin in the game. Everyone needs to have skin in the game in order to keep the incentives aligned.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's important to note is that Bitcoin miners have to prove that they've put compute, that they've burned, like he said, a real world asset. They are somehow creating a kilowatt, buying a kilowatt from somebody that made it. And there's no way to fake that you bought a kilowatt. You can't show up with pretend kilowatts. A kilowatt demands nuclear power, wind, solar, natural gas, coal, whatever. You got to work for it. And then unless you can find a computer that does not run, maybe that runs on angel dust or fairy dust, computers need electricity. I've yet to see one that does not run on electricity. So if you're plugging in to work at Bitcoin, you need compute, you need electricity, and that's the only way you're getting paid through Bitcoin mining, whereas these other ones don't.
Proof of work is the only truly honest protocol out there.
Yeah.
Proof of stake can always be gamed if you wanted to talk about the latest hack out in North Korea. Yeah,
let's talk about the North Korean hack. So for those of you who don't know, Morgan's going to tell you about a hack that a team of North Koreans, and I think, what do they call the team of North Korean hackers? I think they're state operated.
I think they were state operated.
Yeah.
But the key fact was they hacked $1.5 billion in Ethereum, and the Ethereum Foundation scrambled afterwards to roll back their transaction, proving to you that Ethereum is incredibly centralized. If they have the ability to roll back a $1.5 billion transaction, what can they do to you?
Yes. A lot of these, and so that's what you want to ask yourself is most people that are running some type of cryptocurrency, altcoin, whatever, they claim to have end-to-end encryption. There's no way for anyone in the network to stop a transaction, to pull back a transaction. And that's what they call end-to-end encryption. They have privacy tokens and stuff like that. But then they get hacked and the whole network can come crumbling down. And all of a sudden they have the power to reverse transactions. So that's just proof that it is not truly encrypted and it's not private, that somebody in the centralized authority of a lot of these tokens can absolutely claw back transactions. And that is a major security issue and major security breach. And so that's one of the risks you take when you go outside the Bitcoin network. Am I stating that right? Is there anything else you'd like to add to it?
Centralized systems are always weaker than decentralized systems.
Yeah.
A good analogy to use is the gatekeeper. If I can bribe the gatekeeper, I can always find a way through the Great Wall of China.
Mm-hmm.
For example, the Great Wall of China was a great wall until one of the gatekeepers got bribed.
Mm.
That was actually a true historical situation where the Great Wall of China, as formidable as it runs for thousands of miles, and you have little gates, little doors where you can actually access and not have to climb over. If you can bribe the gatekeeper, this applies to the network as well. If you can bribe him, you have a chance to cheat that system, cheat that security, and gain access. So the same thing applies to proof of stake systems. Proof of work is the only way that we're guaranteed that every player in the game has true skin in the game and has the incentives are aligned. If you wanted to hack a proof of work system, you have to risk billions of dollars worth of electricity. That is not the case in a proof of stake system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's what we want to point out here is that decentralization is the security of Bitcoin. That if you can decentralize authority, it's just infinitely more secure than if you just have to bribe the gatekeeper, the founder, the founding team, the dev team. That's a central point of failure. And as time has proven, most centralized systems get corrupted because it's just too much power in the hands of the few versus all of us having a say, which is the Bitcoin network. This is a consensus network, not a centralized network. Maybe can you explain or do you know the difference between a consensus network in Bitcoin? Anything on that?
A consensus network would be something that's widely distributed.
Mm-hmm.
And so if consensus is too narrowly defined as in a proof of stake system, it's fundamentally insecure, whereas as Bitcoin being decentralized, consensus is spread out amongst all the nodes in the system.
Yeah. All right. Any other topics that, well, okay, I wanted you to speak a little bit about MicroStrategies. They've got some really cool products coming out that you love.
Oh, MicroStrategy has some incredible products.
Yeah.
But one of my favorites actually isn't a true MicroStrategy product. It's more of a derivative, you could say. One of my new favorite products is MSTY, and they use synthetic covered calls to replicate to basically replicate the equivalent of having, say, hundreds or thousands of MicroStrategy calls and be able to write covered call options and sell those onto the market.
What's a synthetic covered call for those of us that don't understand this terminology?
You're going long. It's a long call.
What's a long call?
So I'm betting.
I'm gonna keep dumbing this down for myself.
So a call is simply a bet that the future price is going to go up.
There we go. So
yes.
A call is a bet that the future is going to go, that the future price is going to go up.
I'm buying the option that the price will go up in the future, and I'm matching it to a future sale that the price could go down at a certain price. And so I'm limiting the volatility of the price within a certain band. So when it comes to MicroStrategy stock, it's the most volatile stock on the stock market right now. You can go check on Strategy's website. You can see and compare them against the Mag 7 stocks. They're the most volatile stock up and down. How do I make money on volatility? Or another way to think of this is, how do I monetize my own holdings of Bitcoin? So I'm waiting. If you saved in Bitcoin, you've saved in MicroStrategy, and you have no way to monetize it until the price goes up, you need to find a way to pay your bills. In the meantime, you need to find a way to finance your lifestyle. You can actually make money just on the volatility of MicroStrategy itself. Use the vortex at the bottom of the rocket ship on the launch pad to generate you a yield.
Yes, I love it.
It's just a dividend ETF. Think of it like a high yield dividend ETF. So just like a stock trades and ETF trades, and you can make a fairly consistent dividend from month to month, and you can reinvest that dividend and have it snowball like all other dividend investors like to see happen.
Yeah, and I tell you, this is a fix for a massive asset class called real estate. A lot of the real estate people, they like to hold a solid asset that goes up in value, up in price, we would say, and they like this monthly kind of mailbox money they can get from renting it. And so a lot of them kind of frown upon Bitcoin because it really is just holding the asset, but there's no cash flow. So a lot of real estate investors will not exit an asset because they like the cash flow, and Bitcoin doesn't have any type of cash flow. It's more of a buy and hold. Well, this fixes that problem. Am I correct?
It fills in your gap between holding an asset that your Bitcoin or MicroStrategy stock that you do not want to sell and liquidate right now for cash.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're saving every month into Bitcoin and you don't want to sell it, this is an option for you to either gain financial freedom by building up a cash flow stream to yourself, which
Mm-hmm.
could hopefully eventually either replace part or all of your income. And it gives you a path, a gap. It fills that gap between now and whenever Bitcoin becomes a fully monetized asset. It's in the process of monetizing now. This fills that gap.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you cash flow while we wait for Bitcoin and MicroStrategy to take off.
Yeah. And this is just to let people know how large of an asset class a real estate is. It's $250 trillion asset class is the global value of a real estate portfolio. And so there are tons of investors that invest in an asset they can hold that has cash flow. This is an asset you can hold and now have cash flow through this. And what's it called?
MSTY.
MSTY. Now, is this already launched? It's active?
It's been active for over a year now. And other options include actually MicroStrategy products. They're now selling Strike, a preferred stock that offers 8% dividends. And you have Strife, which is a 10% fixed income product. So if you think back to Saylor's presentation previously, he described real estate as being roughly a 10% a year yield. If you can have that without the risk of having to go buy a property, deal with the strife of having tenants, and
Mother
dealing with
Nature,
property damage, and
fires,
insurance, you would rather
hurricanes.
you'd rather just have the yield.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Find the equivalent. Everyone's out there looking for what can take my risk and get me out of investing in real estate that I otherwise don't want to hold for the long term. There's a hassle there. Take the friction out for people. They want cash flow in the medium to short term, but they don't want all those risks. This is an opportunity for everyone that wants to offload those risks. They don't need to take those risks.
Yeah, definitely. Shout out to Steve Kelly. Have you met Steve Kelly before? He's a regular here, but I think y'all might have. So Steve Kelly has attended this Bitcoin meetup, almost all the ones that I've attended in the past. So we need to get you back out to Baton Rouge, meet Morgan. But he has watching from Lafayette. Thanks for sharing live meetup. He says 60 million millionaires on the planet. Why would he send us that number? Maybe you can tell us.
Oh, gee, I wonder why.
Explain why that's an important number.
There's 60 million millionaires on the planet, and there's only less than a quarter of a Bitcoin for every single one of those millionaires.
Yep.
Every one of those millionaires right now needs to scramble to find a way to get a quarter of a Bitcoin if they want to keep their status as a millionaire.
Here we go. Thank you, Steve. He's feeding us intel.
Thanks,
60 million millionaires on the planet. Approximately 230 million people own Bitcoin. You see what we're getting at here? Basically, the number of millionaires out there, they haven't woken up. The billionaires haven't woken up. The millionaires haven't woken up. If they actually wanted to just go get one Bitcoin, there's just not enough to go around. I think I just Googled. There's 2.1 million Bitcoin left unmined. and there's 60 million millionaires that could easily all buy one.
And I'd like to make another point on that. If you actually took the most conservative measure, 21 million Bitcoin, if they were all for sale, imagine that, and you divided it by the 8 billion people, you'd only have between $150 and $250 per person for their entire lives. That is the hard cap. So if you could acquire between $150 and $250 in Bitcoin, you have the equivalent of a lifetime's earnings today.
Wow. Wow, that's amazing. Okay, Steve, keep the questions coming. He's got another one. Is one Bitcoin enough?
Most, if I'm being realistic here, most people aren't capable at their current savings rate of acquiring one Bitcoin. We're past the point of people saying they're full coiners or have a one full Bitcoin.
Yeah. Whole coiners are going to be super rare now.
You have to settle for the idea of saying, I have 50 million sats, half a Bitcoin, 25 million sats, a quarter of a Bitcoin, 10 million sats, a tenth of a Bitcoin. These are going to be the new metrics that people measure their wealth by, because being a whole coiner is just not going to be feasible unless somebody is capable of putting aside $100,000 and after tax or transferred from their 401k kind of money.
Or if you're just remortgage your home, sell your car, ramen noodle, live on the floor, you could get to it.
You have too many chairs.
You have too much furniture.
You listening to this, you have too many chairs.
Yes.
You must be like man who sits on floor and watches TV.
Right. Get a tent, live with the homeless, and stack sats. I think I need to get one of these Bitcoins. Yes, Steve, you need to get one. Definitely need to be stacking. It is still super early, according to a lot of, when are we looking at 1 million, 10 million, $50 million Bitcoin?
Oh, you're asking me.
Yes.
Oh, I do not make those price predictions. I just say it's going to be sooner than you think.
Yes. Now, what do you think this cycle tops off at? Any guess? What's your guess on the blow off top?
I think the cycle takes us to 1 million, just like Eric Trump said. I think we hit 1 million this cycle. I think we will have a crash back down to sub 500,000.
Yeah. My prediction is somewhere between 250 and 350. But I made this prediction before the United States government said we ain't selling. We're looking for ways to buy it. So this is a pre-US Bitcoin. I was thinking that it's going to have a blow off top around 250, 350, and then come down maybe around the, maybe even touch 100,000 again, 150 as we get another bottom. But now how long do you think this cycle lasts? You think we got another 18 months left in this?
I think
bull run?
We've broken out of the typical 4-year cycle. I
Really?
think it's going to be, if you look at the institutions and the nation states at play, there's no reason to think that we're going to stick onto a typical 4-year cycle anymore. We've reached escape velocity, as Saylor says.
Fantastic.
We're far outside of the typical 4-year. Oh, people are going to get down about it. No, people are going to be scrambling as soon as countries start buying and large institutions start buying and really seeing what's the available supply get just absolutely soaked up faster than anyone can imagine.
Yeah, and don't forget, we had Grayscale dump 350,000 Bitcoin on the market this cycle. That gobbled up a lot of the momentum that the ETF's coming in. We also had Germany dump 50,000 Bitcoin on the market.
Brilliant move. Thank you, Germany.
Great job, Germany. Thanks for helping us get a lot of cheap corn on that day. I remember smash buying as much as I could afford to on that day.
I remember that day. It's great.
And that was like an overnight. Nobody heard about it. Started coming. All of a sudden, Germany just sells with some lettuce hands.
Lettuce hand is a great way to describe that.
That was.
More like Butterfingers.
What a screw up. And if Germany had to rebuy that big, they sell it at? Wasn't it like in the 50s?
It was in the 50s. It was horrible.
They sold it, and then it tanked the price. I thought it went down like maybe even into the 40s. I can hardly remember what it was. And now it's at 80, 82. What's today's price? Do we even watch this stuff anymore?
I saw it at 85 today. We had a
there we go.
Little upward movement today. It was nice.
Yeah. So, Steve, see if you can give us a heart. I'm trying to see if this heart thing works. I don't know if you can give us a like. Hopefully, Steve, somebody give us a like here. Usually we get a little heart right there. still learning how to operate StreamYard and our live broadcast. Any closing remarks or anything else that we're going to chat about before we get our final guest?
The one thing I need to tell everyone here, if you have Bitcoin, do not sell. If you don't have any Bitcoin, talk to Craig.
Yes.
Consider humanly impossible.
Buy Bitcoin, hold Bitcoin. Don't sell your Bitcoin. Buy and hold.
Thank
All
you,
right,
Craig.
man. Yep. Thanks for coming on. All right. Special guest from New Orleans, Miss Bria. Oh, let's see. I got to redo the name thing. I can't believe this crazy girl made it all the way here. I can't believe Miss Bria Papilla, close friend of mine, blast from the past. I'll tell you all the backstory here. Fellow Bitcoiner. I'm actually looking to make sure I spelled your name correctly. I'm like, okay, that's not that right. Bria's former cheerleading partner of mine. We go back since she was 18, 19 years old.
That is correct.
And then we reconnected, and I was like, Bria, you have to buy Bitcoin. I'm going to bug you about it until. So tell us about that journey, about having a Bitcoiner beat you over the head until you bought Bitcoin.
Well, that journey was a long journey, only because I come from the world of, used to come from the world of normal people, right? Where
Yes,
I used to think
Bitcoiners are not
I
normal.
was normal. I had actually just graduated from my executive MBA program at LSU, and in that program, they teach us advanced economics, advanced finance, accounting. Everything's on the executive level, right? So going back to the institution where I got my undergrad and learning these advanced courses, they actually did teach Bitcoin to my surprise, right? So I wasn't completely unfamiliar with
She had
Bitcoin.
heard about it. Had you bought any at that point?
No, because I didn't understand it, and neither did the professor who was teaching the course.
Yes.
And neither did basically everybody else that was taking the course. So Bitcoin, this was back in 2021 when I started my executive program. So a lot was still very unfamiliar with Bitcoin, and the professor literally wanted to be more knowledgeable about Bitcoin, but unfortunately he could only say Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency, which I think at this point, if you're a Bitcoiner, you don't really lump it into that category. But of course, we're talking about an LSU professor who doesn't really understand it himself. So he calls it a cryptocurrency when, after learning more about Bitcoin and my evolution of it, people would consider it more of a commodity versus a cryptocurrency. So to kind of mix those two was what I've learned now is a faux pas on his part. But what I know now versus what I could have contributed to the conversation back when I was actually taking the course, they wanted more people to get interested because they know it's the future. They just don't know how it's going to be a part of the future and where it's going. And it was still kind of young in 2021, where they basically were like, the blockchain makes it a legitimate, form of currency that is extremely, secure, transparent. It's built on, which we all know is on like a mathematical equation, which makes it secure in a particular way. But they couldn't really go into details about what it's going to do, projections, who's even involved in it, as far as nobody in the whole class owned any Bitcoin. And basically, when you're in these courses and you're taking classes, they tell you, especially in finance, if you can't understand it in a simpler terms, don't own it. So I didn't, neither did anybody else. But the fact that they even taught it and it was a topic of conversation, they know it's coming. They know it was something that was going to eventually become a very hot digital item, because we're moving into that digital age. So they wanted to at least address the issue, answer any questions. The problem is that the professor just didn't have any answers for us. So we were all like, well, then why are we even mentioning the topic if we you can't get a lot of answers, but it was fun to learn.
Yeah.
And then you and I basically reconnected right after that, right after I graduated. And you just completely then blew my mind on the topic of Bitcoin. And
So maybe talk about, so that was what she learned from colleges, and you know, no fault of colleges. This is a very new topic. It's only 15 years old, started in 2008. Maybe talk about some of the books you were given. I know Mr. Mark here. Shout out to Mr. Mark. Hope you're doing well. What book did he give you to read? Said, Bria, you got to read this book, because he gave me the same book.
well, of course, the Bitcoin Standard by Seyfedin Mamous.
Yep.
That was a amazing book that actually the majority of the book was just going through. They won't. The biggest thing about Bitcoin is you have to understand the origins of money in general.
Love it.
So the majority of the book was trying to get you to understand the comprehensive protocol of what money is and the understanding of it, how it evolves from civilization to civilization, the rise and fall of each type of currency that has existed over time. So just learning about other civilizations and what they used as currency, and it's just an acknowledgement, right? Like it went from seashells to rocks to, you know, architecture to statues, and in each civilization something was held sacred in different ways as monetary value. So getting to learn and understand that it's just a common understanding that we're going to barter these goods, that we've all agreed that these particular institutions have value, and this is what we're going to trade on. But eventually there is always some sort of a corruption in place that ends up taking the place, or there's the rise of something else that is the fall of a current currency. So,
and man's always looking for harder and harder currency to transact in. And so, you know, when you go from seashells to beads, and eventually we stumble across one of the greatest assets, which was gold, which lasted, and Seyfedin talks about gold. But what are some of the problems that he talked about with gold? Or do you remember any of those?
Yeah. So gold is great as far as it is scarce and rare. It's considered a precious metal.
Love it.
But it's
She's learning.
I know.
Wait, let me pause her
Took some
here.
time.
She is one of the few Bitcoiners on earth. This is the next generation of Bitcoiners, meaning she's never owned anything but Bitcoin, because a Bitcoiner, a pure Bitcoiner, brought her into the network. And we're going to start seeing more Brias of the world that Bitcoin, the only exposure they had was a Bitcoiner that just kept them from all the, I spent 5 years in shitcoins and learned horrible lessons. She didn't have to do that. And I think there's a whole generation of Bitcoiners that are just coming in. Their first book into Bitcoin was Seyfedin. What a great first book. So, okay. So back to gold.
Right. So what they really teach you with gold, it still today holds a lot of value, and it's still considered
it's a $20 trillion asset class.
Right.
It's huge.
Absolutely. And it's going to continue. So the problem that they were discussing in the book is that it's hard as far as transferable across space and time. So if we had to evacuate the United States today, can you put 20 bricks of gold on your back and board a plane or board a boat to go where you need to go? No, it's an asset that you cannot take with you. It would be very difficult to take all your gold in your safe that you've got, you know, buried somewhere, to just say, I'm going to, you know, take my gold bricks and leave. Try to escape the United States with 20 gold bricks and see if you make it.
Yeah. And a lot of people that store gold as a last ditch effort to be able to take with them on the road, as they're fleeing on the road away, that's when the gold is taken. You know, people are robbed on the road in transit, especially when you're fleeing a war-torn nation. Many times you get robbed and you're lucky to get out with nothing but your brain and your clothes on your back, which is so anyway, continue about gold, and then we'll talk about how Bitcoin solves some of that problems gold has.
Right. So they're saying that that's one of the main hardships about owning gold is that how do you move it? How do you transfer it from one location to another? Especially if you are in a rush, you know, and you've got to get somewhere. So that was one. The next would be the divisibility of it. You know, you have a gold brick and you want to buy that item over there. Well, your gold brick's probably worth more than the item, your sought after or asset that you want to exchange. So the divisibility of gold is difficult as well. Like maybe you have gold coins and you have maybe different gold coins, but if you have statues or you know, any type of gold, to get the real amount of value of your gold versus the asset that you want to purchase, it's going to be difficult. So the divisibility of it is going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be complex.
Yeah. Portability and divisibility are issues that physical property has, similar to land. You don't sell your house to go shopping at Walmart. You don't bring a gold brick. And how do you cut that up to the exact number you need at the Walmart checkout line? And so how does Bitcoin solve this?
So, with Bitcoin, what I've experienced is that those, we have soft wallets, we have hard wallets, and we have lightning wallets that we're learning. And it's moving like it's going to become an asset class like Apple Pay. Like basically, there are places that are starting to accept lightning wallets and Bitcoin, in that where you can get the exact amount of Bitcoin per asset that you're wanting to purchase, and the lightning wallets and the transferability. It's making it so easy, and these digital wallets that are coming about want to make it as easy as Apple Pay. So anywhere you go in the world, any country that accepts Bitcoin, it's going to be available to you through the stroke of your phone in an app, and that's going to be the ease of using Bitcoin. It holds its value. It's transferable. You can take it anywhere in the country, in the world, globally, and the divisibility factor. You can set it directly to whatever, basically whatever profitable asset that you want to purchase. You can set it to. So the divisibility factor is huge. You want to be able to give as much Bitcoin as you're willing to purchase for your property.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Bitcoin is just, you can be stored in your head with 12 words. You can swim across the English Channel if you're a good swimmer with it, and trying to swim across with all your gold or your real estate on your back is just not feasible. And then if you want to send Bitcoin on a weekend overnight outside of banking hours to someone in China or someone in Pakistan, you can. But how do you ship your gold over to Pakistan on a weekend? Like, that's just not. These are the limitations of gold.
That's right.
Any other takeaways from Saifedeem's book? And any other, and then we can go into any other books that or podcasts or influencers that you've listened to.
Mr. Mark also recommended the blockchain book. Understanding the blockchain is super important. And I'm still learning. There's so much about the blockchain that I don't know, and the hash rates and the security factors of the blockchain and the 10-minute blocks and the mining portions. There's so much to learn, but reading books about the blockchain to understand what really makes Bitcoin so secure and like the securest asset that you could own. That's really, really important. And the level of transparency and decentralization of the blockchain, not being able to be hacked and the manipulation. That's one of the things that I think that makes Bitcoin differentiate from all the other coins that, like you say, I haven't participated in, nor do I want to participate in.
We wouldn't let her. All the bit guys at the Bitcoin meetup. And she's from New Orleans, who has a shout out to Ted. I'm gonna get you to say something about the New Orleans Bitcoin before the end of the show. But yeah, keep going. Sorry.
No, I mean, we looked like we had one of our friends at the New Orleans Bitcoin meetup talked about the Bitcoin ATMs. I swear to God, I'm like, we got to get a Bitcoin. So then we look on the map, where are all these Bitcoin ATMs? And there were like 50. There were
in
like
New Orleans.
50
Yes.
Bitcoin ATMs. I'm sitting here astonished that New Orleans, we're kind of the last people to do anything in such a fashion like that.
Yeah.
That we were shocked. And we're like, we got to start putting some Bitcoin ATMs out to get the word out about Bitcoin and have it be like a regular ATM in gas station, bars, grocery stores. And there were already 50 of those institutions already set up. So I almost feel like we were late even getting there. Like, are
Yeah.
we even going to be able to compete with the other 50 that are even there? But
Yeah, there's a lot of use cases coming up, lightning payments, a lot of second layers being built where you can really use Bitcoin as a means of exchange. That's all coming. Okay, any other influencers that you watch, YouTubers?
well, I mean, everybody that you turned me on to, so Jack Mahler's.
Oh, shout out to Jack
I
Mahlers.
know.
Love that guy.
He does a very good job. If you're new like me, and sometimes you feel like influencers talk a little bit over your head, or you're not really grasping what they're saying, I feel like Jack Mahler's does a really good job of explaining it in ways that if you're new and you're trying to understand, he puts really good analogies in place as far as for you to understand exactly what he's trying to explain to you
Yeah.
when it comes to Bitcoin. So when you're new and you haven't learned the language yet, and you're a little bit verbally challenged, and the dialogue's a little difficult,
A little financially challenged.
you're like, what was that he said? He does a really good job of trying to keep it simple, explain terms, and really get the newbies to understand quicker. Versus when you have other influencers that speak over you,
Kind of over your head.
over your ability to understand when you're in the new section.
And for those of you that don't know, Jack Mahlers does a Monday 6 p.m. Eastern live on YouTube. And so he had one this past Monday. Shout out to his dad, raising a great, brilliant son. He's an accomplished chess player, for those who don't know, and the founder of Strike. And you should get on his live show and ask him questions, and he will answer your questions live. And kids, I think, just turned 30. So it's a brilliant kid from Chicago. Shout out to all my Parks and Rec people in Chicago. I got a ton of them, especially if you're listening from my Parks and Rec community. Welcome to the show. So anyone else? Jack Mahlers. Let's see who you mentioned. I'm curious.
Well, I mean, of course, Seyfedin Mahmouz, I mean, he's a big proponent. I mean, he really tries to go into his books a lot. He has a second book, right? That just came out that I want to
shoot.
I know. He just had a second book. So it's a sequel to the first.
Yeah.
But I want to read it because his first book was so good that I think the second is going to be kind of where the first book was more about, let me just get you to understand money.
Mm-hmm.
And then the very last section was more about Bitcoin. But this one, I think, is more of diving into the complexity of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And therefore, you know, when you're new, you get the first book. And now when you kind of become much more astute into Bitcoin, and you have a little bit more knowledge, and you can handle the complexities, the second book is going to be. So I'm about to go buy the second book because I think I'm there. I think I've reached my improvement of ability to understand has gotten to the next level.
Lynn Alden, have you gotten to her book yet?
I have not. Broken Money. I have to read her book, Broken Money, because I hear you talk about it so often.
Great book. Good job.
So, Kathy Woods.
Yes.
Kathy Woods.
She speaks on Bitcoin a lot.
Yep. She does a really good job. I've listened to many of her talks, and what is her organization that
ARK Invest.
That's right. Okay.
She's one of the ETFs. If you're gonna buy an ETF, and you have to buy an ETF, I'm gonna tell you don't.
I do have an ETF.
You absolutely have to, and a Bitcoiner can't beat you out of that decision. Go buy Kathy's.
I did do an ETF at first because in the beginning I wasn't quite sure I could trust myself with self-custody. So I'm like, let me do ETF first because I just want to at least say I own some Bitcoin.
No, you know.
I know.
It's just a promissory
I don't really
price exposure.
own it,
that's all you
but
get.
I kind of own it, but not really.
It's an IOU.
That's right.
You own it. You remember Dumb and Dumber when he says, that's an IOU. You want to hang on to that one. It's worth $1 million. Those are as good as gold.
I know. That was in the beginning when I'm like, I just have to learn more about self-custody.
Yeah.
And, you know, rolling over money from your 401k into an ETF I was basically, I didn't want to take out that money to take a capital asset hit.
Capital gains hit.
Yes, capital gains hit. I just I know you want me to, and you want me to just sell it all, bust it all.
Would have been great if you had done it when it was significantly lower than where it's at now.
I mean, I still have the ETF, but I'm getting, now that I trust myself with self-custody, doing much better on that. It's just, you just have to learn, especially with self-custody, to trust yourself and that you're capable, you have the ability to do it.
All right. Testimony about Bitcoin meetups, because I know you go to the New Orleans one. Maybe you can promote the New Orleans Bitcoin meetup. This is the Baton Rouge Bitcoin meetup every first Tuesday, and this coming Thursday, Tim runs a Bitcoin meetup at the off of St. Charles. What's the name of the place?
Society.
At the New Society. It's a great location, right off of St. Charles. Really cool place. Blockchain Wayne is usually there. He was supposed to come to this one and speak. He's a very accomplished speaker on the topic of Bitcoin. So we're going to get him on the show one day. But he regularly attends your Bitcoin meetup on Thursdays. Maybe you can give a pitch as to what that's like over there.
So the New Society is an organization that is strictly really for entrepreneurs. So it was built because a bunch of entrepreneurs, they're trying, New Orleans has a tech sector that basically wants to be like a small Silicon Valley. And they have these organizations around town where you can come in, you can set up your computer, you have, a food access, you have digital access to projectors, computer,
unlimited coffee, an open cash bar. It's in New Orleans.
But they're trying to attract entrepreneurs to come in, do these meetings that we have on Thursday, and even on a larger scale. So our meetups are on a smaller scale, but they have a lot of tech, new, innovative organizations that are on a larger scale that need large venues to accommodate people with a lot of digital, just like our setup here. They have the computers, they have the mics, they have the projectors, and they're wanting to give the venue available to really prop up or give the resources to our innovative part of New Orleans. And they want to make it like hospitality, like you said, where we bring in great chefs that can cater your event, that are like Cajun chefs or gourmet chefs, French gourmet. We had an event there the other night where they had an amazing, well-known French gourmet chef, and they had these amazing mixology drinks. And while they're giving their talks and about the new innovative startups that are happening in New Orleans, that seems to be, they're really trying to grow that part of New Orleans. Is we want to be innovative, we want to have entrepreneurship at the forefront, and how do we give them the platform to come in and make sure that everybody's well taken care of, from the digital piece to the food piece, everything. So I really like the organization. I like the venue and where it gives us an opportunity to talk about Bitcoin, meet new people. It attracts a lot of new viewership and entrepreneurs. And I think it's going great. You
should definitely attend if you're ever in New Orleans on first Thursdays, you're ever in Baton Rouge on first Tuesdays, 6 to 9 here at the Bulldog. I think 5 to 7 at the New Society. Shout out to Tim. Who else is there? Blockchain Wayne. Kevin Lewis in Lafayette. I know he's trying to put something together, but he often attends this one. He attended Nashville. Maybe tell people about why they should also, we'll close on this one. Why should people attend the national convention in Las Vegas?
Well, if it's anything like the Nashville, which I'm sure it'll be on steroids, basically. So anything that happens in Vegas is on steroids. But the Nashville was absolutely fantastic. I know we all had a big group that went, but
Morgan was there.
Yep, Morgan was there. We were all there, Mr. Mark. It was fantastic. You learn so much. You see all of these faces that you're normally watching on YouTube or on any type of social media platform, and they're like right there, really live and in person. They're so approachable. They're so sweet. They're so nice. They actually want to talk to regular people that have questions, such as myself, like you. Like we were able to talk to almost everybody that we normally see on every platform.
A wealth of knowledge there. Great speakers on stage.
Oh yeah.
And then here's what's cool. You can buy everything in Bitcoin. Everybody accepts Bitcoin at the Bitcoin convention. So you can buy t-shirts, underwear. You can buy Bitcoin hardware wallets, software wallets.
The vendors were
so
fantastic.
Many cool stuff.
The
artwork.
The amount of vendors that attended and set up booths, it went all out. We're talking about the most innovation that I've really ever seen, and I'm in the medical community, and I've seen a lot of medical conferences where they set up amazing, innovative booths to really show you the next wave of innovation. So they want people to get excited, and there were 30,000 people there. I mean, we couldn't even fit everybody in. The lines were wrapped around the building just to get into.
And I think the tickets, I'm going to look them up. I want to say they're super cheap right now. They go up to like $600 or $700. Let's see, Bitcoin 2024 Nashville tickets on sale right now. Shoot, I can't find it. Probably $300 now, if I had to guess. So you can get them almost for half price right now. Get early bird tickets. Here we go.
And I really feel, since they did such an amazing job in Nashville, that Vegas is even going to be even bigger.
Vegas always does it well.
So I can't imagine how much it could get much bigger than what was in Nashville. But if it's going to get bigger, it's going to be in Vegas.
It's already up to $500, so you better get it quick. I think I got mine for $200 at the convention. So remember, if you do go to Bitcoin Nashville, Bitcoin Las Vegas, buy your tickets at the convention for next year. You get them for like a quarter of the price. Morgan, you want to close it out? You can sit on the other side of Bria and we can just scoot over and we'll have some last remarks. What do you want to tell the world? What does Bria want to tell the world? How do we want to close this out?
Buy Bitcoin, never sell.
It's never too late to get into Bitcoin. Everybody's got to start somewhere. And I thought it was useless when I started. I'm like, I'm too old. I'm too late.
It's not useless.
Bitcoin is hope.
Oh, that's what Michael said. You didn't even mention Michael Saylor.
Of course I do.
No, I mean, when I was asking influencers that I love Michael Saylor.
That's because everybody knows he's the godfather. So I wanted to say somebody other than Michael Saylor.
Yes. He's the latest, probably the most well-known Bitcoin billionaire. And he's only been here for 4 years. I think it's been very recent. So he's a quick study. And I know there's a lot of other smart, wealthy people out there that are going to learn quickly and won't take as long as I did to learn about Bitcoin. Any closing remarks? All right. So if you have not attended a Bitcoin meetup, go into meetup.com, type in Bitcoin meetups, find your local meetup. You'll meet great guys like this that can educate you and be part of your Bitcoin community and kind of steer in the right direction. Plus, they're usually, if they're of the Louisiana variety, be careful if you get in a drinking competition with them, because typically they'll drink you into the bar. They know how to party in Louisiana. So drinkers beware. All right, so we're going to get and close it out. This is Morgan, Craig, and Bria, Daniel, and Riley. Usually we have Mr. Mark. Usually I'm going to get Kevin and Blockchain Wayne, a couple other speakers on here. We're going to do this every first Tuesday. We'll do the Bitcoin Daily podcast live from the Bitcoin meetup. So hopefully you can join us. Hopefully we've given you some information. Please give us a like, share on X. You can find us live, LinkedIn and Facebook. We'll see you guys tomorrow, same time. And I think you're threatening to come on Thursday still, huh?
Thursday.
We're still good. All right. So me and Morgan are going to do another show on Thursday, and maybe we can catch Bria at the next Bitcoin meetup if she'll come and join us. So love you guys. You'll have an awesome day.
Thank you.
See y'all tomorrow.
Thank you.
The system is broken. Inflation is robbing your wealth. Banks control your money. But what if there was a way out? Bitcoin isn't just an asset, it's a revolution, a decentralized, unstoppable financial system built for the people, by the people. This is the Daily Bitcoin Podcast your front row seat to the future of money. No hype, no noise, just real Bitcoin insights from the industry's top voices. Bitcoin isn't the future, it's happening now. And if you're not paying attention, you're already behind. Don't just watch from the sidelines. Be part of the Bitcoin revolution. Subscribe now to the Daily Bitcoin Podcast.